Hello there, everyone. We're doing the Lessons of A Course in Miracles here, and today we're going to do lesson 196. But first, I wanted to say yesterday our lesson was Love is the Way I Walk in Gratitude, and I had the amazing opportunity with my partner and his son to take a couple of hours out of the day and float down the Delaware River a little further up here, more in Pennsylvania. I'm living in New Jersey, but anyway. It was just a perfect opportunity to commune with nature. It was a perfect temperature day. There was just so much loving kindness between us all, and it was just perfect. It was like a perfect day, and I feel like the synchronicity of the lesson being about gratitude and me having the kind of day that felt like I was so grateful for just fits together really, really nicely. So I hope that you had that kind of opportunity, or that it comes to you very soon. And really grateful for the course for helping me have awareness and be present when I have those kind of opportunities. All right, lesson 196. It can be but myself I crucify. When this is firmly understood and kept in full awareness, you will not attempt to harm yourself, nor make your body slave to vengeance. You will not attack yourself, and you will realize that to attack another is but to attack yourself. You will be free of the insane belief that to attack a brother saves yourself, and you will understand his safety is your own, and in his healing you are healed. Perhaps at first you will not understand how mercy, limitless and with all things held in its sure protection, can be found in the idea we practice for today. It may in fact appear to be a sign that punishment can never be escaped, because the ego, under what it sees as threat, is quick to cite the truth to save its lies. Yet must it fail to understand the truth it uses thus. But you can learn to see these foolish applications and deny the meaning they appear to have. Okay, it may in fact appear to be a sign that punishment can never be escaped, because the ego, under what it sees as threat, is quick to cite the truth to save its lies. So I think this is just telling us that the ego is extremely tricky, extremely savvy and smart, and knows you better than you know yourself, more than likely. So getting caught up in attack. I actually did have a moment, as beautiful as yesterday was, before we left, I had a little upset. And one of the things I've discovered about myself is that I wasn't allowed to have tantrums when I was younger. So if I have the opportunity to walk away and just talk trash for a minute or two, it helps me kind of like stir that up and let it out, let that energy out. But I was in it. Like I was caught in this place for a minute, and so I let myself have my mini tantrum away from someone so I wasn't attacking. And then I went back and said, it really hurt my feelings when this was said, and I feel like I see this differently, and we resolved it beautifully right then and there. It was over before it got anywhere bad. But anyway, the ego is extremely savvy and knows where your soft spots are, where your blind spots are. So I think this concept of it can be but myself I crucify, every time we fight back, even on Facebook, the social media wars are so interesting. It's still an attack on yourself, even though you feel so justified and so righteous in your argument. And when we allow ourselves to get into that argumentative state, that is pure ego. Like nothing else is happening there. Even though it's the truth we may be talking about, it's the energy and the approach of the commenting that we're doing. Okay. Thus do you also teach your mind that you are not an ego. For the ways in which the ego would distort the truth will not deceive you longer. You will not believe you are a body to be crucified, and you will see within today's idea the light of resurrection, looking past all thoughts of crucifixion and of death to thoughts of liberation and of life. Today's idea is one step we take in leading us from bondage to the state of perfect freedom. Let us take this step today that we may quickly go the way salvation shows us, taking every step in its appointed sequence, as the mind relinquishes its burdens one by one. Is it not time we need for this? So fun. Is it not time we need for this? Okay. It is but willingness. So we don't need time, we need willingness. Always that little willingness. For what would seem to be 1,000 years can easily be done in just one instant by the grace of God. The dreary, hopeless thought that you can make attacks on others and escape yourself has nailed you to the cross. Ooh. The dreary, hopeless thought that you can make attacks on others and escape yourself has nailed you to the cross. There we go. Perhaps it seemed to be salvation, yet it merely stood for the belief the fear of God is real. And what is that but hell? Who could believe his Father is his deadly enemy, separate from him and waiting to destroy his life and blot him from the universe, without the fear of hell upon his heart? Such is the form of madness you believe. If you accept the fearful thought, you can attack another and be free yourself. Until this form is changed, there is no hope. Until you see that this, at least, must be entirely possible, how could there be escape? The fear of God is real to anyone who thinks that this thought is true, and he will not perceive its foolishness or even see that it is there, so that it would be possible to question it. To question it at all, its form must first be changed at least as much as will permit fear of retaliation to abate and the responsibility returned to some extent to you. From there, you can at least consider if you want to go along this painful path. Until the shift has been accomplished, you cannot perceive that it is but your thoughts that bring you fear, and your deliverance depends on you. Our next steps will be easy if you take this one today. From there, we go ahead quite rapidly. For once you understand it is impossible that you be hurt except by your own thoughts, the fear of God must disappear. Okay, so that's interesting because I just brought up my little upset yesterday. For once you understand it is impossible that you be hurt except by your own thoughts. So that's like another evolution for us as human beings relating with each other in this controlled society filled with war and death and everything. You know, it's so rooted in us. I was convinced in that little moment that something else hurt my feelings, when in reality, I think what happens is I have an unhealed place in me that was, touched. And if I were completely healed, I could have just, not even, my feathers wouldn't have been ruffled at all. So, yeah, that's really, really important to have that in your mind somewhere, in your subconscious mind, in your deeper part of your mind. For once you understand it is impossible that you be hurt except by your own thoughts. And when Jesus uses the word impossible, I think that's what he means. The fear of God must disappear. All right, so we got to work on that. You cannot then believe that fear is caused from outside of you. And God, whom you had thought to banish, can be welcomed back within the holy mind he never left. Salvation's song can certainly be heard in the idea we practice for today. If it can be but you crucify, you did not hurt the world, and need not fear its vengeance and pursuit. Nor need you hide in terror from the deadly fear of God projection hides behind. So the fear of God is where our projections of these things is hiding. So it's never that thing that we think we're upset about. It's this fear of God. I also believe it's this belief in death, which those things go together very well. So interesting. The thing you dread the most is your salvation. You are strong, and it is strength you want, and you are free and glad of freedom. You have sought to be both weak and bound because you feared your strength and freedom. Yet salvation lies in them. There is an instant in which terror seems to grip your mind so wholly that escape appears quite hopeless. When you realize once and for all that it is you fear, the mind perceives itself as split. And this had been concealed while you believed attack could be directed outward and returned from outside to within. It seemed to be an enemy outside you had to fear. And thus, a God outside yourself became your mortal enemy, the source of fear. Now, for an instant, is a murderer perceived within you, eager for your death, intent on plotting punishment for you until the time when it can kill at last. Yet in this instant is the time as well in which salvation comes. For fear of God has disappeared, and you can call on him to save you from illusions by his love. Wait, I think the sentence cut off a little bit here. And you can call on him to save you from illusions by his love, calling him Father and yourself his Son. Pray that the instant may be soon, today. Step back from fear and make an advance to love. There is no thought of God that does not go with you to help you reach that instant and to go beyond it quickly, surely forever. When the fear of God is gone, there are no obstacles that still remain between you and the holy peace of God. How kind and merciful is the idea we practice. Give it welcome, as you should, for it is your release. It is indeed, but your mind can try to crucify. Yet your redemption too will come from you. All right, that's lesson 196. Let's switch over to a year of forgiveness and see what 2019 Jesus has to say about all of that. It can be but myself I crucify. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one you know as Jesus. It can be but yourself you crucify when you accuse or judge another. You disconnect yourself from oneness and you suffer. When you attack yourself, you disconnect from love and you suffer. It can be but you that you crucify. In all the antics of this world, it is the last thing you think that when you hurl an insult or attack at others, you are crucifying yourself. You do not understand the profound connection others have with you because you are the creator of your world, your dream. Every character you encounter in your experience of life, which is a dreamlike experience, once you pass over into other realms, you will see that this is like a dreamlike experience. And every character in your play is there for a reason. The bad guys are there to demonstrate your desire and belief in attack and vengeance. That is why they are there, so that you can see the hatred in your mind that you hide from yourself. Think about this a moment. Anytime a bad character walks across the screen of your life, you get to see your belief in hatred and attack shown to you through visceral feelings, unloving ideas, and thoughts of murder. Now, this all sounds very dramatic, thoughts of murder. But when you look at the human race, war, the inner city streets of your big cities, and the number of people killed each year by guns in North America alone, you will have a hard argument to convince me that murder is not on many people's minds. Murder is on the ego's mind, and it will carry it out given the correct circumstances. It is important for you to understand that you are capable of this kind of brutality. Until you take your ego very seriously, it rules you. We do not want it to rule you because it shows its colors in your world today in violence, poverty, and unloving actions by people and their governments. We want you to truly understand that every time you attack somebody in thought, word, or deed, there lurks a murderous ego beneath the surface of your social face. Ooh, we have to own it. We do not tell you this to terrorize you. We tell you this so that you understand how important this work is, and given the right circumstances, most of you would kill if you were required to. And I can tell you, being in the military for 20 years, that's absolutely true. And of course, it's all completely justified behind a lot of, tit for tat and patriotism and everything else, but it's definitely, you access that part of yourself when you join a military. So, yep, certainly would have killed if I needed to. I never did, but Some of you will say, oh no, not me. I would never do that. But some of you know you have been in circumstances where, given the right scenario with the right weapons, you could have pulled the trigger. Amen, Jesus. We want you to understand that this is okay. This is a world of separation, but you must understand the brutality of the ego to deal with it in a disciplined and focused way. We encourage you to continue on this work together so that you can override the ego's rule of attack now or attack later, and its viciousness and cruelty, so that you can create a loving and kind world with an experience that is generous, kind, and beautiful for you too. You do not need to suffer the way you do, but you must understand the ego's motivations. You must understand that attack must be relinquished from your repertoire. I am that one you know as Jesus, and we will speak to you tomorrow. All right. It can be but myself I crucify. So today's a day of looking where the ego's clever little games are played and seeing if you notice it and forgive it, of course, because it's all okay. We're in school. We're just students here. Yeah. I'll be paying attention today. I hope you are too. Thanks for watching and doing the lessons with me, and I'll see you tomorrow.